So if you think
Yes.
about how to set boundaries with your child, like we kind of know how to set boundaries based on the way that we were raised. So most of what we learn as parents is like what we grew up with, right? But the problem is that when we were growing up, there was not technology. So there's actually a lack of skills, honestly, which parents have never needed before, because
Good time.
technology was not as addictive and was not invading. You know, like it's not like kids were getting exposed to cigarettes at the age of 2.
Right.
But my 2-year-old knows how to navigate a phone better than my mom.
So true. So true. So how do we approach
Yeah.
that and getting them off?
So I think there are a couple of things. The first is, so our program basically, like when we help parents, we do 3 things. First, help parents understand how technology works and how it's affecting your mind's psychology and neuroscience. So just as a simple example of that, games have become a way to socialize. So what a lot of parents don't recognize is that when you restrict the game, you are also taking away your child's social support network. And so a lot of the resistance that kids will send their parents' way is because they're actually getting many psychological needs met by the video game. And imagine if I were to tell you, hey, like for the next 2 weeks, you're not allowed to see a single person that you like, right? That's what parents don't realize, what they're really taking away from the kids.
And
The
if we
second,
feel anxious or depressed, that can tank our mood even more.
100%, right? So
Yeah.
what we also see is that, people who get addicted to video games are much more likely to be on the autism spectrum. They're much more likely to have a mood or anxiety disorder. So there's a lot of things that people, especially kids, will use games to cope. And there's data that shows that games do regulate our emotions. So they shut off our negative emotional circuitry in the brain. Second thing that we tell parents to do is build an alliance with your kid, because you can't be sober for someone else. So you can't force someone else into recovery. So what we really recognize is that usually when parents are intervening, they're intervening to set limits. And that makes you the bad guy.
Right.
Right? So right now the problem is it's parent versus child and video game over here. What we really try to do is get parent and child on the same team against the video game. And that may sound insane, but it's absolutely possible. It's really simple, actually. So what we really recommend is parents talk to their kids about, okay, why do you play games? What does it do for you? And tell me what you like about stuff outside of games. And oftentimes what they'll uncover is that there's some kind of challenge that the kid is facing. And if you can help your child overcome that challenge, like let's say bullying in school, it'll help you get off of the video game.
Okay. Can I role play just for
Sure.
a minute? Okay. So, and let's say I'm not being bullied or anything, but I just love video games, and for school, my friends are on there, and it's just a big part of my life. And I just love video games so much. Um, how would you, let's say I'm your 10-year-old gaming daughter, how would you align with me and sort of have that chat about how it's going to be us versus them?
Great. So the first question that I would ask you is, okay, so you love playing video games, right, Debbie?
I love it.
How many hours do you want to play a day?
All of my waking hours.
Okay. So let's do a little experiment. So when you wake up, I'm going to cook you your favorite breakfast in the morning, and then you're going to sit down to play a video game. And after 1 hour, I'm going to ask you before you sit down, how excited are you? I'm going to ask you, how much fun are you having? And then 1 hour later, I'll ask you, hey, how much fun are you having? 1 hour later, I'll ask you, how much fun are you having? If there are parents here who are listening, y'all know that 6 hours in, your kid is not, oh my God, this is amazing, I'm having the time of my life, right? They're like neutral, they're tilted, they're frustrated, they're upset. So kids themselves don't understand what the impact is. And like, I've got a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, and what we do at home, and this is what we teach other parents to do, is talk to your kids about having them observe the impact. Is the first hour more fun than the fourth hour? If we go to the playground for 2 hours, like, is it more fun to play afterward? That's where I would start. As kids get a little bit older, so invite them to observe, and you should be learning with them. So it takes an attitude of like, hey, I know what's best for you and this needs to stop. It's like, hey, let's learn this together and like, we're going to figure it out. So we want to build that cooperation. The other thing is as kids get a little bit older, because remember that most of the people in our community, and we reach about 3 to 5 million people a month, they're coming to us and they're gamers. We started with gamers, and then parents started asking us for help. And then we were like, okay, fine, we'll figure out how to help y'all.
Yeah.
But what a lot of them I would ask you, so you're 10 years old, like what do you want to be when you grow up? You know, how are friendships at school? Like, are you popular? Like, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about your body? These questions become better as you get 13, 15. And then, you know, people will say, I don't feel great about my body. And then you'll ask as a parent, how can I help you with that? And the answer is not going to be playing a video game. And so kids know what they need. The problem is that when parents point out to a child that they're ruining their life, that you're worried that they're ruining their life, the kid knows too. And that's why they fight you. So you'll run into a lot more denial when you're right, not when you're wrong.